Hi friends, welcome to Business Law Academy. Myself is Paul and today I'm going to discuss about an important topic in corporate regulation or under Companies Act 2013. In chapter 1 of corporate regulation subject or under Companies Act 2013, a new kind of theory has been evolved under corporate law. And that theory is called lifting the corporate veil. This theory is a novice in the realm of law, explaining an investigation method which is used by the court of law during a corporate conflict. In this chapter, I am going to discuss about what are the methods used for this kind of investigations and what is the meaning of lifting the corporate veil and which are the circumstances the court of law or any other authority use this principle to resolve the dispute between a corporate firms. Before I begin my discussion, I like to introduce a word called veil. What is the meaning of veil? This word is not a popular one among the subject or the people. The meaning of the veil means a partition or a curtain between a person. Its exact synonyms is shroud. Shroud means a piece of cloth used to cover someone's face. By that, no one can see him during his transaction. It is a custom in a tradition or other traditions also. It's still existing. Just like that, in corporate field, there is a veil between the management and with the shareholders. And today I am going to discuss about that veil among this scenario. So, as I told you, veil means partition or curtain between the company and its members. It's an existing fact which is involved in between a company and its members. In legal terms, a company is an artificial person due to the fiction theory of law. So how this corporate veil has been evolved? As we all aware that company is an artificial person. Artificial person means it is created by law for the purpose of business. It doesn't have any natural rights or fundamental rights which is guaranteed by the constitution. It exists only in the books of law. How this happened? The artificial person theory has been evolved from the fiction theory of law. The fiction theory means it's not existing, but the court consider or the law consider that person is existing and distribute or promulgate the law for the justice. So by the existence of this artificial person, it acts as a shroud between a member and its managements. I will explain these things in the following class. So, due to this reason, a company cannot work as its own. It needs an authority who can lead the company to its goal. And that authority is called management of a company. So, due to artificial personality existing in a company cannot work as its own. When I say work, it means it cannot think, decide, or party to a contract because of this artificial personality. So these things will do by the elective members of that company, or they were called management. So on behalf of company, the management will sign or make contract for the company. But is the company is made of management only? No. There is another guy or there is another division which is existing in the company, and that's called shareholders. A company consists of not only management but also shareholders who invest their hard money in aspect of profit to their investment. For profit, a company needs a good management and a plan. So, for a company, it's not only the management but also there are shareholders who invest their money in expectation of getting profit from their investment. For making profit, a company need to be in a good management as well as a good plan. There is a famous investor who always says about his theory of investing. He always look into the eyes of the company, not the body of the company. He always says like that. He always look to the brain of the company, not to the body of the company. If the brain is good, then he will invest. Otherwise, he won't. This sentence is made by, or this theory is made by a famous investor. So the next question is a company is a citizen? As I told you before, a company is not a citizen, but it's an artificial person. How it became an artificial person? There is a case called Salmon versus Salmon, which is decided almost in the 1800s. During that case, or in that case, Salmon, a natural person who is a businessman, made a company in the name of Salmon itself and transfer his business to that company. After some time, Salmon raised some shares and made some fund, but in the name of company, but after some time this became insolvent. So the investors of that company came in front of the court and claimed for compensation as well as for their investment. However, the court proclaimed that court cannot or the law cannot punish Salmon because this fund has been raised by Salmon company, not the natural person Salmon. And that way that case has been disposed or adjudicated in favor of Salmon, that is natural person. From that case onwards, this theory has been evolved and used several times by the judicial authority. However, after decades, this rule became a shroud between a member as well as its shareholders. or the management or versus its shareholders. And by using these shrouds, a lot of companies making a lot of profit from the shareholders, and the shareholders can't reclaim their investment from them. This brings a great disastrous situation among the shareholders and also to the economy. So, in the modern times, this theory, the lifting the corporate veil theory, has been adopted. As we all aware that a company is a legal person but is not a citizen, the citizenship cannot be exercised only by natural person. So, a company is just a artificial entity. So the person who behind that will be liable. In this picture, you can see an illustration between uh, our theory. In here, D, a shareholder, try to invest some money in a corporation. However, it doesn't know about its management. That corporation itself is an artificial personality. And behind that corporate veil of artificial entity, their management, that is ABC, is working for the corporation. So, in case of insolvency, in olden days, they can file a suit up to corporation, not to the ABC management, because they are protected or they were protected by the corporate veil theory. I mean, not corporate veil theory, that artificial entity theory. However, after 2013, by introducing this lifting the corporate veil theory, the shareholder can file a suit against the management and to the corporation directly and make liable for their breach of law or failure of their management of the company. And that's the main theme of this theory. So the corporate veil theory is working like this. Just like in this picture, it depicts exactly what's happening in the court of law. When a tribunal gets a case related to company mismanagement, the judicial authority will lift the veil of artificial entity and bypass through the transaction which is made by the company which caused the failure of that company and try to find out who is behind in this all transaction, who is hiding inside the management. And by using this theory, the judicial authority pick him up from that management and brought into the justice of law and make him liable for the failure of this company by using this lifting the corporate veil theory. In other words, the veil itself is artificial entity theory. So the court will bypass through it and bring him to the justice. This is the process which is used in the lifting the corporate veil theory. This is an illustration of this picture. What happened if a company misused the investors' fund? This question is always arise during the investors. What will they do next once they affected by the misuse of fund by the company? The only option for an investor is to approach the National Company Law Tribunal, which is established by Companies Act 2013, that is in short NCLT, and file a suit against to the fraudulent company. NCLT has been established in each state of India. And of course, there is an appellate tribunal called National Company Law Appellate Tribunal, which is established in Delhi. The main aim of this court or this tribunal is to eliminate fraudulent transfers and mismanagement of the company, and of course, to protect the investors and of course, the shareholders. So, an investor can file a suit against management or mismanagement of their company and seek the compensation and claim over his investment, including its interest. Then, while receiving that application, the court will raise an issue or a question to that petition. So, while considering that issue, the court will find the fraudulent activities of the company. Then the court will think how the court will punish the company for a fraudulent activity. As I told you before, for finding these answers, the court will use this theory because the court cannot punish a company building or a company. It is just established by the artificial entity theory. So instead of punishing the company, the court will punish its management by using this lift in the corporate veil theory. It's just a simple process. As you can see in the picture, a person who tried to invest money sum in a corporation, and by the name of the corporation, the management will receive that money. Once it became insolvent, this same investor file a suit against the management as well as the corporation. Then the court will involved in this case, and by auction of the property of the management or personally, they will be liable for his investment and retrieve the entire investment from the property of corporation or the management's property itself. Now let's see what are the circumstances which are used for applying this theory. Usually there are two circumstances: access to statutory provisions and judicial interpretations. Let's see what is access statutory provisions. Well, statutory provisions means by the law. Is there any breach in the law? Then for that reason, finding that reason for that breach, this this theory will be used. For example, as per section 45 of Companies Act 1956, and a company can carry on its own business with a limited liability only for a period of 6 months. However, if any company beyond this period carried on its business, then every person who is a member of the company at that time is aware of that fact shall be individually liable. So if there is any breach of law existing and it's already aware by the members, then they shall be liable for that breach. In a caution, I want to remind you, this example is used by your own syllabus. Okay, because the Companies Act 2013 is existing. And of course, the Companies Act 1956 is not active right now. We are following Companies Act 2013. But the usage of this example or this phrase by the syllabus. That's why I just put in these slides. It's actually, we are following Companies Act 2013, not 1956. Another example for using this theory is fraudulent or improper conduct of business. If a corporate or a business firm try to make some fraudulent or improper business, for finding that fraudulent transfers or improper conduct of business, an authority can use this theory and find the person who behind on this mismanagement. So that's the fact regarding about this theory. And of course, in the name of company, any person who try to mislead or sign documents, bills, negotiable instruments. As per the Act of Section 147, as per the Section 147 of the Act, an officer of a company sign on behalf of company. However, if he is not disclosing or he has negligent about the mentioning the name of the company, still the company will not be liable, but he himself will be liable for that act through this theory. It is also followed in holding company. If anything happens, any misleading things happen in holding company, for the purpose of investigation, this theory will be used. And of course, to find the affair of a company, as per Section 23, an investigator can be appointed to the look affairs of the company to study whether there is an operation or mismanagement of the company. So, to find any mismanagement, an authority can use this theory and find the person who is behind in this mismanagement and operation and bring him to the justice. This theory also used to find the ownership of the company. As per Section 247, the central government, if satisfied, may appoint to investigate and report on the membership of any company or any matter related to the company for the purpose of ownership. So, finding the ownership, this case or this can be taken, or this theory can be taken. Now, which are the circumstances the judicial authority used this theory? The first circumstances is to find the character of the company. The second circumstances is to prevent tax evasions. The third circumstances is to prevent fraud and improper conduct of a company. And the fourth one is to protect the interest of employees. And the last, not the least, but to protect the public policies. These are the circumstances used, or in these circumstances, this theory has been used by the judicial authority. I hope you understood the theory, circumstances, and the definition of the lifting of the corporate veil. If you have any comments, please do subscribe. If you like this video, please like it and subscribe my channel and support my venture. Thank you. Thank you very much.